Welcome to the Human Nature Channel. I'm your host, Alex Mtamsula, and what am I doing here? Well, it's Tuesday night once again here in my dad's center of the known universe farm garage. The vibe up here is pretty incredible. So how about some Las Vegas shooting truth community yak, because that's what you're here for. First order of business, I got a new subscriber. Who's Your Daddy 311. That's spelled Hoosier. Welcome, Who's Your Daddy 311, to the Human Nature Channel family. You know, it's funny. I haven't done a video in the last 2 weeks, and I get a subscriber. I'm still trying to solve the mystery that is YouTube. Next, Hunter UK has returned from his sabbatical. He left a comment on one of my earlier videos, and I said, great. He posted a video where he has announced his collaboration with Vegas October 1 Sounds. I think this is great news. I can't wait to see the results of their efforts. Richard has already posted a video, which I will watch when I get home tomorrow. Hello, George. I laid down a backing track for the next song. I just haven't gotten around to the vocals yet because I've been kind of busy. In fact, some of you may know what I have been busy at. Since this is the Las Vegas Shooting Truth Community, it is news to announce that one of our own, Laura Loomer, has won the Republican primary for the U.S. House race in Florida's 21st District, which includes Palm Beach County and Mar-a-Lago. A high-profile win. And a very, very impressive win, by the way. Laura got something like 43% of the vote. That is pretty incredible. You know, I mean, I don't live in Florida. I had no feel for how this race was, if it was close or if it wasn't close. The guy who came in second was, I think his name was Christian Acosta. He was this chemical engineer that was running for the House. He got 22% of the vote. Some of the other candidates were Mike Villardi, Reba Cheryl, whose campaign website had a picture of her with President Trump, Elizabeth Felton, and it was funny, these candidates, they all started following me on Twitter. I know some people down in Palm Beach County. I think that's pretty good. Well, I think I have everything I need. Say, Irv, how about we teleport back to the apartment? Because I don't know how much battery life I got left. Time for your close-up, buddy. Picking up where I left off, Reba Cheryl and I have DM'd each other. And you'd be amazed at all the anti-Laura Loomer people who started following me on Twitter. Oh, there's this one guy, Bill. He likes drawing mustaches on Laura's pictures. The one where he made her look like Frank Zappa was pretty funny. Bill's thing is, he thinks every famous man was born a girl and every famous woman was born a boy. He puts mustaches on pictures of Eleanor Roosevelt and Britney Spears. I've even told him I don't believe Laura Loomer was originally a boy named Larry. But what can I say? Everything you've ever heard about the way Twitter is true. Now, from what I understand, Laura Loomer didn't announce she was running for the U.S. House of Representatives until August of 2019. Newsbreak says this about the polling. An internal poll from the campaign of Republican congressional candidate Laura Loomer, who is seeking the GOP nomination in Florida's 21st congressional district, gives her a 9-point lead over incumbent Democrat Representative Louise Frankel. That is old news since Laura has already won the primary. But it also means this is Laura's own poll. It was all I could find at the moment, so I don't know how Laura is really doing against Frankel. But Laura did win the primary with 43.5% of the vote, and nobody saw it coming. Also, Laura refused to debate any of the other candidates in the primary. I know that for a fact since Reba told me as much. Mike Villardi and Elizabeth Felton made similar complaints. None of the other candidates particularly liked her, mostly because a lot of Laura's campaign contributions came from out of state, an obscene amount of money compared to every other candidate's cash on hand. So it wouldn't surprise me if Laura Loomer managed to eke out a win over Louise Frankel in November. Deep pockets can buy a lot of flash, and I'm expecting a backlash against Democrats because of the rioting, which could benefit new friend of the blue, Laura Loomer. So in the month leading up to the Florida Republican primary on August 8th, I was sharing what I knew about Laura with people who didn't like her at all. But I didn't tell them everything. There was one thing I knew, and I was keeping it in my back pocket. If Laura had not won the primary, you would not be hearing this. But back in April of 2019, Laura Loomer put in an appearance on Roseanne Barr's YouTube channel, which is called The Roseanne Show. In this 21-minute video, Laura introduces herself to Roseanne's audience, and I saw it when it first came out. Halfway through the video, Roseanne whips out the marijuana pipe and they smoke a little dope. I'll leave a link to that video below so you can see for yourself. Bringing this up after the election would be like nuking Laura from orbit. So what I did first was go to that Roseanne/Laura video, and I made a GIF of Laura hitting the pipe. It's the first GIF I ever made. What do you think? With something like this, I've got the goods on Laura Loomer. This could even have been used to hold over the head of our dear Laura at some point further down the road. I'm picturing Laura on the front page of the New York Post after leaving the race with headlines like, "Up in Smoke, What a Dope," and "Just Suck In." Whoa, slow down there, Laura. Save some for the rest of us. Only in America. Now, I don't give a shit if Laura Loomer or anybody else smokes dope because I think marijuana laws are stupid anyway. But when you become a candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives, you sign off on a lot of paperwork, I would think. If there were some morals clauses in those papers where Laura assures everyone she doesn't engage in criminal activity or behavior, could she be open to a charge of perjury? As a candidate for the U.S. House, she is now subject to FEC rules and regulations, meaning she's under federal scrutiny. And the federal government still classifies marijuana as a Schedule I narcotic. Do you see my point? Remember what they did to Representative Katie Hill after photos surfaced of her with the bong? Who else running for the U.S. Congress right now has video of themselves out there smoking weed? Nobody except our Laura. How brain dead does a person have to be to smoke dope on video and then run for the U.S. House of Representatives? She smoked dope in a video and might as well have stepped outside and smoked a joint under a CCTV camera. What a fucking idiot. One last thing I've got to fess up to. I've been putting this GIF and a clip from the video with Laura catching a buzz out all over Twitter. For the last 16 days, I've sent it out to every news organization and media and political figure I can think of. Just go to my Twitter page and scroll down and you'll see who got what. I sent one to Rush Limbaugh. I said, there's no truth to the rumor Laura pulled up to a stop sign and waited for it to turn green. I sent one to Lindsay Lohan. Yes, I know I'm nuts, but that's because way back when Laura was still on Twitter, she was following Lindsay. Hey, can I find shit out or can I find shit out? If all the Laura Loomer lovers out there refuse to speak to me, I'll understand. But consider all the elements that go into this. A newly minted Republican primary winner for the U.S. House in Donald Trump's home district. Roseanne Barr, marijuana, Laura Loomer and all her baggage. Trump even congratulating her on her win. Like I said, I've sent the clip in GIF to everybody I can think of in news, like Chuck Todd. I even sent one to Dan Rather, and all I said was, courage. Now, don't you think what I showed you about Laura Loomer and Roseanne Barr, of all people, would be considered, oh, I don't know, newsworthy? 16 days. The celebrity angle alone should have brought some attention. Even if I don't get any credit for the scoop, don't you think you would have heard about this from someone other than me? All big media news would have to do is run with this newly surfaced Roseanne interview, and they'd be the one screwing Laura if she happened to have committed perjury. But they don't. I'm telling you, something doesn't pass the stink test here. Le più, allez, conquez-vous. There's always something interesting either inside or outside my dad's farm garage. What can I show you today? What happened up here? I got up here late, around 4:30 in the afternoon, and as I'm driving on the back roads, I noticed there were tree branches on it. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. There had been a very big storm that passed through western Pennsylvania at about 3 in the afternoon. So anyway, I'm pulling down the driveway, and I glance up to my left, and I see these trees are all down. And I'm like, holy cow. I mean, you got this tree broken here. Right here, there's a tree branch that got broken off, a big one. So anyway, I go into the house, and there's no power. I'm like, wow, the electricity's off. So I get upstairs, and I run into Dad, and I says, hey, what's been going on? And he's like, oh, 3 in the afternoon, we had a really, really big storm. And he was like, but it only lasted like 5 minutes. It was very strange. It was a big downpour. Not a lot of water, although the ground is dry, it would absorb most of it, but we didn't have like water running down the driveway, which is something that we've seen before. Anyway, what makes it so strange is you'll notice that the trees down off to the right seem to have done pretty well. Further on up there is a downed tree branch. And if I turn and look to my left, everything seems to be fine. What the heck? I mean, I've never seen anything like this. Did a tornado touch down? Dad and I were going, you know, microbursts, that sort of thing. Now, it's kind of funny is when you walk up to the property between our farm and the neighbor's farm. You got the tree that fell down here. Didn't damage any of his crops. He's okay in that respect. No evidence of the big wind coming through. Yeah, Dad's going, I really didn't need any more firewood this year. I'm like, well, lucky you. Very strange. It's just, you have all this damage in this very, very small area, and everything else seems to be untouched. You know how it is. You never know what you'll find up here at my dad's farm.